Hello YouTube, it's September 2025 and the following series of videos will be overviews and demonstrations of my mini siren family as I have them now since I started working on these in February. Each one of the three here you'll see, I'll give you a little demo. I'll take the hoods off so you can see underneath what's going on inside and maybe even give you a little design philosophy for why I made the choices that I did. The siren that we're going to be focusing on in this video will be the Mini Thunderbolt. So here is a breakdown of the Mini Thunderbolt. And as you can see, I promised, and I did it. I bumble bolted the horn. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black segments, 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow segments. And because I don't have EMS, I had to make these all separate and then super glue them together. And one unfortunate side effect of it is that the horn has a little bit of a tilt to it. I will turn the horn frontward here. I also gave it a real screen holder and screen. Let me zoom in. But you can kind of see it in the video. The horn segments kind of do with this thing, even though I made every effort that I could when I glued these together to keep them straight. But at this point, I'm not going to complain because I think it looks pretty damn neat. Okay, so the first part of the tour on the Mini Thunderbolt will be the blower. This is a blower of my own design, centrifugal in nature, and it pushes air through 3/4 inch copper pipe. And my blower wheel, again, it's with my principles of making it as light as I possibly can. And here you can see my balancing method in action, where I have holes in this ring all along the inside lip of my impeller, and then I have one little tiny M2 screw there, and that balances out to the point where it will stay put on the table. Even though there is no rubber on it there's no rubber under any of these to keep it from moving around. One last thing that I have to do is I have to add some support back here because this thing tends to be a little back heavy, and it will do one of these. And since we're here, let's do this. This is my blower motor. It's a 540 motor. You can see how I have it just kind of have it cinched on there with a hose clamp. The positioning of this motor isn't anywhere near as critical as it is of the choppers. So I'm more interested in up-down placement as opposed to side-to-side placement. And another thing, and a happy unintended consequence of this design is that the blower itself, because of how much air it puts out, some of it gets under the blower wheel and it gets into the motor and it's funneled through the motor, and so the motor, while it runs, it gets cooled. And believe me, this 540 motor certainly is working very hard to pump air into the system, and so it will get hot. And so now here's the money shot of inside the rotator. Same idea as with the P10 for the rings, the slip for the collector rings. It's late, I can't talk. I've got 2 strips of brass wrapped around the thing, and then I just have wire soldered to them, and it runs up. And it runs up to where the chopper motor is under there. And then it feeds in through these wires, and again, here's my supercapacitor for very long wind down, and then I have springs on the side here for tension on these wires so that I have just the right amount of grab on this so that I get good contact and transfer of electrical energy. Because the supercapacitor is ahead of these, so it has to push all of its stuff through here, and as you will hear in the test, I have this tweaked pretty well now that it does not, I do not have pitch fluctuations. And then I just have like this little tiny gear reducer thing, driving a gear reducer thing for my rotator, and this is a 10-to-1 gear setup here that's just driven by this. And then here is my wiring. It comes in from the bottom, and I just have like a simple 2-piece plug on the bottom here that I can shove up into that hole so that it stays in place. And then I know that I've shown you under the hood of this before. There is the motor in here. There's a motor down here, and it comes up and it drives a chopper, and I can take this chopper cap off with these 4 screws, and I can very easily swap out from 5/6 to 4/5, or even single tone 5-port. One thing I should point out about this rotator box assembly, I don't know if you noticed inside, but the chopper tube does not come all the way down to the bottom. That was an intentional design choice on my part, because I didn't want to have to try and figure out a way to get 2 3D printed pipes in each other and have them, or I should say, make it easy for the rotator to do its thing, but also for it to be smooth enough that the rotator can do its thing while still maintaining a decent seal. So, unlike the real Thunderbolt, with my design here, the entire rotator box holds pressure from the blower. And actually, if you think that this does leak, it does leak, but because we're dealing with a centrifugal blower, I do want it to leak a little bit, because if you go watch some videos on the internet, and if any of you want to argue this point with me, I can point you to a video that will demonstrate this clearly, that with a centrifugal blower, if you stall airflow, the pressure actually drops. So I do want it leaking a little bit, because that actually will help with pressure. Time for a demonstration now with my custom built power supply and AR timer. We are going to do recordings from a little further back this time of the sirens. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit alert on my AR, and then I'll let it run for a bit, and then I'll flip the switch and let you hear it in attack. And we have wound down. So as it stands right now, I am confident enough how this whole process went with designing the mini Thunderbolt and how it came out that I'm going to call this a completed design. And so now my next task will be to kind of figure out how to get something like this, or how to get this up onto something like printables, so that if people want to download this and make their own, they can do that. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video. Please like, please comment, please subscribe.